Chapter 5. Water. Water cycle. Water cycle or hydrological cycle is simply defined as the change of water from one state to another. Water moves from oceans high up into the air. From there, it may rain on the land or over the seas. The rainwater again goes back to the sea through the rivers. This movement of water is called water cycle. Water cycle has neither a beginning nor an end. Evaporation and precipitation. Heat from the sun causes water in oceans, lakes, rivers and other water bodies to evaporate and rise into the sky. Water of the ocean is transformed into vapor due to the heat of the sun rays. When this water vapor reaches upper atmosphere, condensation starts. It converts water vapor into water droplets or tiny crystals of ice, which float in the air and ORM clouds. When water droplets or ice crystals grow in size, they fall down to earth in the form of precipitation. When large amount of rainfall occurs, some of the water sinks into the ground, some forms streams or remains accumulated in depressions to form ponds or lakes. Rivers or streams flow over the surface of the earth and join the seas or oceans. Groundwater. Almost 30% of the world's fresh water reserves are found under the ground. When it rains, some of the water soaks into the soil. It passes between soil, gravel, and rock and gets deposited below the earth's surface. It is a very important source of water for plants. Transpiration. Plants absorb the groundwater through their roots and return as water vapor to the air through their leaves. The return of water through this action of the plants is called transpiration. Transpiration. Plants absorb the groundwater through their roots and return as water vapor to the air through their leaves. The return of water through this action of the plants is called transpiration. Glacier. In the areas of low temperature, water moves very slowly because it is in the form of ice. River of moving ice is called glacier, found in high altitudes and high latitudes. Hydrosphere. Hydrosphere is the name given to the total amount of water on the planet. It includes all the water bodies on the surface of the planet, groundwater, water vapor, glaciers, icebergs, etc. The three spheres of the environment, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere, are responsible for the existence of biosphere. But hydrosphere has been given special importance because life on the earth is originated in water. Water is vital for life. Plants, animals, and human beings cannot survive without water. Along with carbon dioxide, water vapors are equally responsible for regulation of temperature in the atmosphere. Thus, hydrosphere has its influence on atmosphere. Water is present on the earth in the form of rivers, tanks, lakes, snowfields, underground water, seas, oceans, etc. Collectively, they are known as hydrosphere. About 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, while about 29% is land. Water area is more in the southern hemisphere. Land area is more in the northern hemisphere. 97% of hydrosphere present on the Earth is in the form of seas and oceans, 3% of hydrosphere is in the form of rivers, lakes, tanks, etc. Due to the presence of water, the Earth seems to be shining with a bluish tinge from space. Hence, Earth is also called blue planet. It is also known as watery planet as only the Earth has hydrosphere. Fresh and saline water, ocean and sea waters are saline, salty. This water is unfit for drinking. Whereas the water of rivers, tanks, lakes, ponds, wells, etc., is fresh and sweet. Sea water contains dissolved minerals. Water of oceans and seas is saline due to the presence of salts in it. There, the salts increase due to rocks present in the seas and mineral powders brought by rivers. Causes of salinity. One of the important characteristics of water is that it is a superb solvent. This means that other substances such as minerals can dissolve quickly and easily into it. The quantity of salt is different in each sea. Salinity of seas and oceans is affected by the addition of fresh water, rate of evaporation, and the ocean currents. It remains low where rivers continue to pour fresh water in large quantities. Evaporation of ocean water and formation of sea ice both increase the salinity of the ocean. Owing to greater evaporation, the percentage of salt increases. Hence, the salinity of seas located near torrid regions is above average. Deep below the surface, ocean circulation is primarily driven by changes in seawater density, which is determined by salinity and temperature. Ocean currents also affect the salinity. Fresh water from polar regions is carried towards equatorial regions by ocean currents. The saline water existing near equator is distributed towards polar regions. Quantity of salinity. The amount of salt present in ocean water is called salinity. Salinity is maximum in the seas oceans located near Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Here, evaporation is more and supply of fresh water is less. Salinity remains low due to heavy rain. Many rivers keep on supplying fresh water in large quantity. Salinity is relatively higher in the seas partially surrounded such as Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea and Persian Gulf. Dead Sea has maximum salinity. Distribution of major water bodies. Oceans are the major water bodies on Earth. Oceans are large areas of water located around the continents. There are 5 oceans on the Earth. 1. Pacific Ocean. 2. Atlantic Ocean. 3. Indian Ocean. 4. Arctic Ocean. 5. Antarctic, Southern Ocean. 1. Pacific Ocean. It is the huge water body located in between the eastern coasts of Asia and Australia and the western coasts of North and South America. This is largest ocean on the Earth. It covers about one-third 30.5% of the Earth's surface. Its area of 166 million sq km is more than the area of all the continents put together. Average depth of Pacific Ocean is about 4,280 meters and the deepest point is 11,034 meters deep. Mariana Trench is the deepest place of the world. There are about 20,000 islands in Pacific Ocean. 2. Atlantic Ocean. It is the second largest ocean on the Earth. It is spread over about one-fifth part, 20.8% of the Earth with area about 82.44 million sq km, approximately half of the Pacific Ocean. Half of the Earth is covered by Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean is located in between the west of Europe and Africa and the east of North and South America. Its average depth is about 3,300 meters. There are very few islands in Atlantic Ocean. 3. Indian Ocean. It is the third largest ocean of the world. It extends from south of India to Antarctica continent. It has total area of about 73 million sq km and an average depth of about 3,960 meters. It covers approximately 14.6% of the Earth. The southern part of Asia is at its northern end. A large number of various types of big and small islands are located in this oceanic area. Madagascar is the largest island in Indian Ocean. 4. Arctic Ocean. It is the smallest ocean in the world. Bering Strait, a narrow stretch of water, connects the Arctic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. It is also known as the North Pole Ocean. It surrounds the North Pole on all sides. Its water remains frozen almost throughout the year. Its area is about 13 million sq km. 5. Antarctic, Southern Ocean. The marine area on all the four sides of Antarctica continent is known as Antarctic or the Southern Ocean. As actually, it is made up southern ends of Pacific, Atlantic and Indian Ocean. Most geographers do not call it ocean. Circulation of ocean water. Most parts of the earth are covered by vast oceans. These oceans are restless due to the continuous motion of the water. The water of the oceans and seas is never at rest. It circulates constantly. The ocean water moves horizontally as well as vertically. Circulation of ocean water is of three kinds: waves, tides, 3. Ocean currents. 1. Waves. Action of winds is responsible for the creation of the waves. Waves are the up and down movements seen on the surface of ocean water. Waves are caused by a number of factors. The pushing action of the winds blowing over the ocean is the most important cause of the waves' movement. By the push of the winds, the particles of water move up and down and pass on their movement to the immediate next particles. Thus, water rises and falls in a wave. The raised part of the wave is called the crest of the wave. The lower part of the wave is called the trough of the wave. Waves do not carry water horizontally. Weather condition also determines the magnitude of the waves. The waves are very high when wind velocity is high. Stormy waves are very high and destructive. The cyclones create very high waves in the sea during the summer months. When a number of cyclones develop in this part like eastern coast of India, it causes much damage to life and property. 2. Tides. A strong gravitational pull is exerted by sun and the moon on the earth. This results in regular rise and fall of water in the oceans. The phenomenon of the alternate rise and fall in the level of sea water is called the tide. Tides are caused by the attraction of the surface of the earth or due to gravitational force. Being closer to the earth, the moon is more responsible for tides than the sun. Kinds of tide. I. High tides. The rise in water level is called high tide. 2. Low tides. The fall in water level is called low tide. 3. Spring tides. When tides are of a higher magnitude than normal, then they are called spring tides. Spring tides occur when the sun, the moon and the earth are in a straight line. At this time, the attraction of the moon and the sun help each other and thus the tides are stronger. This occurs on the days of the full moon and the new moon. 4. Neap tides. The attraction of the sun and the moon neutralize each other. when the sun, the moon, and the earth form three corners of triangle. This happens at the first and the third quarters of the moon. At these times, the tides are weaker and they are called neap tides. Importance of tides I. Sea navigation. At the time of high tide, the depth of the water near the coastal areas increases and enables big ships to enter the ports. Tides are helpful in navigation. Kandla Port in Gujarat and Diamond Harbour in West Bengal work because of tides. 2. River navigation. Tides also help in making the rivers navigable. At the time of high tide, the depth of water in the river also increases and thus they become navigable. 3. Preventing silting of harbors. Tides prevent silting of harbors, remove the mud brought by the rivers. 4. Generation of electricity. Tidal waves are also harnessed to generate electricity. The world's first major tidal power station was opened in 1966 in France. Its 24 generators have a total power output of 240,000 kilowatts. We help to fishermen. During high tides, large numbers of fish come close to the shore. As the tides recede, the fish are caught in the nets placed by the fishermen. Fishermen also make use of tides for sailing to the sea and returning to the harbor. 3. Ocean currents, flowing streams of water that move continually through the ocean in a specific direction, are called currents. Ocean currents are large-scale movements of water in the oceans in a definite direction. Like rivers in the ocean. Ocean currents are thousands of kilometers in length and sometimes 200 kilometers wide. The water in a current moves at a speed of 2 to 10 kilometers per hour. Drift. When the mass of water moving on the surface of an ocean is broad, slow and shallow, it is called drift. The speed of drift is 1 to 3 kilometers per day. Kinds of currents. 1. Warm currents. These originate near the equator and flow towards the poles. 2. Cold currents. These originate in the high latitudes and flow towards the equator. Causes of ocean currents. 1. Difference in density of sea water. Ocean currents are caused by the difference in density of sea water and because of variation in temperature and salinity. 2. Prevailing winds. Prevailing winds blow consistently in a particular direction and drag the surface water due to the force of friction. This leads to the formation of ocean currents. 3. Rotation of Earth around its axis. This also results in the formation of new currents. Influence of ocean currents. The direction and movement of ocean currents is largely controlled by the direction of the prevailing winds. The general circulation of ocean currents is clockwise in the northern hemisphere and anticlockwise in the southern hemisphere. Ocean currents influence the climate, agriculture, and other economic activities of the coastal regions and islands near which they flow. 1. Climate. Warmth. Ocean currents affect the temperature of coastal areas. Places from which cold currents pass are colder than places from which warm currents pass. The warm current make the climate warmer. For example, the Kuroshio Current in the Pacific Ocean and the Gulf Stream in the Atlantic Ocean modify the climates of southern Japan and the eastern part of USA respectively. 2. Free from ice. The warm currents keep the ports of even polar regions free from ice during winter. For example, within the Arctic Circle, the coast of Norway remains free from ice even during winter due to the warm North Atlantic drift. 3. Frozen. On the other hand, Due to the cold Labrador current, the Labrador coast remains frozen. 2. Amount of rainfall. A major influence of the currents is on the rainfall. The currents influence the amount of rainfall received by a country. Countries influenced by warm currents receive more rainfall because winds passing over them and absorb a lot of moisture. Eastern USA, Ireland, and Britain receive such rainfall. The case is completely different in a few places like Atacama Desert. The Atacama Desert in South America remains dry because the winds passing over cold currents are unable to pick up the moisture. This factor is partly responsible for the location of the hot desert of the world at or near the coasts. 3. Production of plankton. One of the benefits of the warm and cold currents is that the mixing of warm and cold current helps in the production of planktons. Planktons are the minute sea organisms which provide food for fish. Planktons support fish in large numbers. Such areas are important fishing grounds of the world. 4. Creation of fog. The mixing of warm and cold current produces very thick fog over the area, which is very dangerous for ships as visibility is reduced. One such region is near Newfoundland where the warm Gulf Stream meets the cold Labrador current. 5. Navigation. The currents influence navigation, as a ship sailing down the current will surely go faster. It can save time and fuel. 6. Melting icebergs. Icebergs are dangerous for ships. The warm currents help in melting it.